Lee Zeldin, the head of the EPA, just did the largest energy deregulation action in American history. The economy was on its deathbed when President Trump came into the Oval Office. This is the golden age.
Okay, brace yourselves, guys. We have a couple more clips of Stephen Miller, this time with Sean Hannity. Funny because both of whom are like the two biggest dorks in the MAGA verse. But if you can, leave us a like on the video. It helps us out a ton. It lets us know you like the content. And let's hop into this interview with some fact checks very much ready.
The economy was on its deathbed when President Trump came into the Oval Office. Joe Biden and the Democrats and whoever was running the White House, be it the Autobahn or anyone else, had suffocated the life out of the American economy. The worst inflation we've ever seen, soaring energy prices, no investment, no innovation, losing out to the world, and the drastic overregulation of every segment and facet of the American economy.
None of this is even true, which we'll get into, but even if he wants to claim that to be such, almost every metric is now worse under Trump, which means he's sealed the coffin. You would, of course, say that, right? Well, no, it's really good now under Trump, but Biden had inflation under 3%, which is where it's economically desirable. The rise in inflation was a global trend. It's just a bunch of dumbasses who don't understand correlation versus causation. They probably don't even know what causes inflation at that, even if they did know correlation and causation, and definitely couldn't point to how Biden did it if they did know. They just know inflation bad, which I mean is also kind of a misnomer, but that's what they've been brainwashed because there was no other economic metric they could point to under Biden. And it's only went up since Trump took office, mind you. Core inflation is also at the highest level since the pandemic. The last time Trump was in office, mind you. Our jobs market also actually flat on its back, actually on its deathbed. The manufacturing sector has lost jobs for 3 months in a row. That is not normal. It's not something that just happens. The GDP is like an entire percentage point under projections when Biden left office, and even the stock market is under projections. By what metric was the economy on its deathbed when Biden left, and by what metric is it better now under Trump? Answer both of those or shut up.
President Trump came in. Now we have the largest tax cut and reform in American history. We have the most pro-energy agenda in American history. Lee Zeldin, the head of the EPA, just did the largest energy deregulation action in American history. You mentioned the investments. I had the honor and privilege of watching the president negotiate with the EU and Korea and Japan the largest investments in American history we've ever seen. This is the golden age.
Yeah, sorry, we got to cut in again. This is all lies. The highest level of energy independence that any country ever in the history of the world has ever achieved was achieved by America under Joe Biden. The largest deregulation is that he's talking about here is Lee Zeldin literally signing off on orders that include undoing greenhouse gas emission limits on corporations who can now go back to putting these harmful gases in our air and killing our youth and our environment because these people don't think climate change is real. They don't think it's a problem, and they definitely don't think humans cause it. All of which are indisputable scientific facts. The economic deregulation he's talking about is the pulling back of civil rights protections, none of which are good things, none of which of any of these make anyone's life any better, except maybe the big oil CEOs, but like, it would make America great again, make America healthy again. It doesn't really do any of those things, and it's definitely not an improvement on anything that Democrats had set up.
The Democrats have gerrymandered this country beyond recognition. Republicans won in the biggest blue states about 40% of the vote in the last election. States like California and New York, according to the official tally, but only got 20% of the votes. I'm talking about the House Republicans here. In 2024, House Republicans won a 3-time larger popular vote margin than in 2010. In 2010, they picked up 63 seats. In 2024, 4 seats, even though they won again a 3-time larger victory in the popular vote margin, House Republicans.
This is the kind of misinformation that should be truly disqualifying from anyone trusting this clown, but of course MAGA only holds that standard of vitriol for left-leaning media that they can't even point to one objective lie from. He's misconstruing multiple things here to paint a larger picture in hopes that you can't connect the dots. He's talking about the total percent of a state's votes in terms of federal, state, and on the local level, and then he's equating that to the percent of state level seats only won, which is disingenuous for multiple reasons. One being people don't vote down ballot same party. Not everyone does that. Then he noticed how he says, oh, well, these 2 elections, they got 3 times more of the vote, but not less seats or whatever, which one he's lying about the numbers. But we don't even have to get into that to just logically realize he says 2010 and 2024, and that in 2024 they got 3 times the popular vote. Well, yes, both because much more people vote now compared to then, and because more people vote in presidential election cycles than in a midterm. You're telling me that you expect as many people to be voting in a midterm than less people are going to vote in 2026 than in 2024. That's not odd. And he, of course, says this in hopes that he says it fast enough and with confidence that nobody will catch it. And when you're on Fox News and your average viewer IQ tops on it probably like 70, you're used to getting away with that. Unfortunately, I watched this episode.